Hello, welcome to Newcomer Information Session for international degree students. This video has been produced by International House Helsinki, or as we say, IHH. IHH is a service point which provides a wide range of information and public authority services to meet the needs of international newcomers. We will be talking about the practicalities related to your study-related relocation to the Helsinki capital region. We will be discussing general guidelines and instructions and what to expect in regards of the public authority services, how to prepare, and what kind of support and guidance services are available for international newcomers by International House Helsinki. In this informational video, we will discuss authority services that apply to most of you, if not to everyone, depending on whether you are EU or non-EU citizen, but regardless of which university you will study at. You can also download the materials used in this video, as well as handy checklists from the IHH website. This video provides important information for international students about essential documents, residence permits, and registration processes. It also covers topics like social security, healthcare, taxation, and work rights. Additionally, you'll learn about applying for an identity card, opening a bank account, and the guidance and support services available at International House Helsinki. Please note that we will not provide instructions on applying for a study place or any internal processes of educational institutions, such as campus locations, curriculum details, delivery schedules for documents, orientation dates, course options and registration, tuition fees and related matters. Your university is responsible for providing this information. If you have any questions, please refer to your educational institution directly. In this video, we will provide general information on applying for a student's residence permit. However, if you have questions regarding your own application, you should contact the Finnish Immigration Service, Migri, directly. We also provide information and services that support your future job search, but we do not offer job placements or arrange a job for you. Let's first go through what documents you need. Firstly, you'll need an official confirmation from your educational institution to prove that you are accepted or enrolled. Make sure your passport is up to date, or if you are a citizen of an EU country, you can use an identity card instead of a passport. For citizens of an EU country, you should apply for a European Health Insurance Card, EHIC, from your home country. This card will ensure that you can access necessary healthcare while in Finland. If you plan to keep your permanent address outside Finland, you'll need the S1 certificate, which certifies your social security situation within the EU. For citizens of a non-EU country, you will need a valid residence permit along with all necessary attachments. It's also important to have proof of medical insurance to cover your healthcare needs in Finland. Additionally, please bring your bank account statements from the last 3 to 6 months, especially if you intend to make cross-border money transfers. Generally speaking, documents in English, Finnish, or Swedish are accepted. At your discretion, you should bring any relevant health and vaccination records, as well as medicine prescriptions. It's recommended to have the prescriptions in paper form, as Finnish pharmacies and doctors generally cannot accept electronic prescriptions issued in other countries. If you're relocating with family members, it's important to have your marriage certificate and children's birth certificates translated and legalized in the country that issued the original documents. Most countries follow the apostille legalization process, and both the original documents and their translations need to be legalized. If you're coming from an EU country, you can request a multilingual standard form, which can replace the need for both translation and apostille. And if you are under 18, you will need your parents' consent for your move to Finland. Please keep in mind that this list is not exhaustive, and depending on your personal situation, there may be other documents you should bring. If you are a non-EU citizen, apply for your residence permit well in advance before your studies begin. Here is a brief overview of the residence permit application process. First, make sure to read the application instructions and criteria carefully. Then, gather the necessary attachments, which must be in Finnish, Swedish, or English. These include a valid passport, an acceptance letter from your institution, documentation of your funding, proof of a paid tuition fee or scholarship, and an insurance certificate. Once you have everything ready, apply and pay online through Enter Finland. You will then need to identify yourself at a Finnish mission or application centre. The application will be processed by Migri, and it can take up to 3 months. During this time, you might be asked for additional information, so be sure to respond promptly. Once your application has been processed, you'll be notified of the decision. If you are granted a residence permit, it will be valid for the entire duration of your studies. For further information about students' residence permit, you can visit the following links. Migri Customer Instructions for Students. Migri Guide for Students. Additionally, you can find helpful videos on YouTube, such as How to get a student's residence permit in Finland. Remember these when you apply for a first residence permit for studies. Please keep in mind that you must have sufficient funds to cover your living expenses in Finland for the entire duration of your residence permit. Also note that there is ongoing automated post-decision monitoring of students' residence permits to ensure the conditions of your residence permit are still met. Next, we will discuss the residence permit application for accompanying family members. Start by reading the application instructions and criteria. You'll also need to gather documents that prove your family ties. If possible, apply for the residence permits for the entire family at the same time. A family member can be a spouse, a registered partner, a cohabiting partner, a guardian of a child under 18 years of age, a child under 18 years of age. Remember that your family must have enough money to cover living expenses in Finland. The income requirements vary depending on the size of your family. Here's how you can contact Migri. If you have any questions regarding a student's or a family member's residence permit, you can contact Migri by email or phone. Make sure to check the most up-to-date contact details and service hours on the Migri website. Next, we will discuss matters to take care of after arriving in Finland, starting with the registration of the right of residence for citizens of EU countries. The EU registration is required for citizens of EU or EEA countries who are staying in Finland for longer than 3 months. You must submit your EU registration application before your stay exceeds 3 months, but it is recommended to apply as soon as you meet the criteria. Nordic citizens or students from Denmark, Iceland, Norway or Sweden do not need to apply for EU registration. Instead, they must register at the Digital and Population Data Services Agency, DVV. EU registration is valid indefinitely, meaning you don't need to renew it even if the reason for your stay changes, such as when you start working after graduation. You can also find a helpful video on EU registration on YouTube. We recommend submitting your EU registration application through Migri's online service, Enter Finland. If that's not an option for you, you can also submit a paper application. Keep in mind that you can't apply for the registration of your right of residence before moving to Finland. That's why it's a good idea to book an appointment well in advance and complete the registration as soon as your studies have started. Before applying, make sure you have all the necessary documents and that they're up to date. As a student, you'll need a certificate of attendance as proof that you are registered at a Finnish educational institution. Please note that an admission letter is not enough for this purpose. You need to pay an application fee. The amount may vary each year, but in 2025 it is €63. Once you have everything ready, visit Migri's service desk at International House Helsinki on an appointment to verify your identity. If you meet all the requirements and have the correct documents, you can receive your registration certificate right away. If you're an EU citizen and a student, there are a few important requirements for EU registration. First, you must be a citizen of an EU member state, Liechtenstein or Switzerland, and already living in Finland. EU registration can only be done here in Finland. You'll also need a valid passport or identity card. Your right of residence can only be registered after your studies have already started, so this needs to be done once your studies are underway. It's also essential that you have sufficient financial resources to support yourself and any family members whilst living in Finland. You don't need to provide bank statements or other financial documents. Just a declaration that you can support yourself is enough. This means you should be able to manage on your own funds and not rely on social assistance. Finally, you should not pose a threat to public health, public security, or public order in Finland. If you need any assistance with your EU registration, you can reach out to Migri by email or phone. For the latest contact information and service hours, be sure to visit the Migri website. Next, we'll explain the process of registering a foreign student in the Population Information System. This is an important step to ensure your stay in Finland is properly recorded. Now let's talk about registration in the Population Information System. This registration is handled by the Digital and Population Data Services Agency, also known as DVV. There are several key pieces of information you need to register. First, your personal identity code and other personal details will be recorded. You'll also need to provide your address, whether temporary or permanent. A permanent address means you're registered as living there until further notice, and when that's registered, your municipality of residence in Finland will also be registered. If you move to a different address or leave Finland, you'll need to update your address. Additionally, DVV will record any family relations, such as your spouse and children, along with your marital status. You will need official certificates to have these details recorded. DVV may set up pop-up service points for students to submit their applications, so be sure to check with your institution to see if any arrangements have been made with DVV. Now, let's look at how to proceed with your registration depending on your situation. If you already have a Finnish personal identity code and one of the following: an A or P type residence permit, a positive decision on an EU citizen's right of residence, or a residence card for an EU citizen's family member, you can apply for your municipality of residence using the online form. If you're an EU citizen, simply filling out the online application is enough. However, if you are not an EU citizen, you'll need to visit DVV in person. If you already have a Finnish personal identity code and want to register a temporary address, please refer to the DVV's website for comprehensive information on international moves and specific instructions for registering a temporary address. In most cases, the easiest way to register a temporary address is by filling out a paper notification of move at a post office or DVV service desk at International House Helsinki, as you might not have online banking credentials or a mobile certificate required for submitting the online notification of move. If your situation is different, for example, if you don't have a Finnish personal identity code or you have a B-type residence permit, you'll need to submit a request for registering personal details as a foreign student. Next, let's look at the grounds on which a municipality of residence can be issued, depending on your citizenship. For non-EU citizens, you can be granted a municipality of residence if you've been issued an A-type residence permit, or if you've been granted a residence permit for at least 1 year and can provide a certificate of study confirming that your studies in Finland will last at least 2 years. For EU citizens, a municipality of residence can be granted once your right of residence has been registered with the Finnish Immigration Service. For Nordic citizens, a municipality of residence can be issued upon request. Once you have a municipality of residence, you generally have the right to use public services in the city where you live, such as healthcare. Additionally, you'll be able to obtain a Finnish identity card and a driving license. If you have any questions related to DVV services, including the registration of personal data, family relations, and municipality of residence, you can contact them by email or phone. For the most accurate and up-to-date contact information and service hours, please refer to the DVV website. For the service desk at International House Helsinki, check the up-to-date opening hours and appointment requirements on the IHH website. Next, let's discuss your right to social benefits and healthcare as a student in Finland. Next, we'll cover international students' right to social benefits and healthcare. Kela is the social insurance institution of Finland and provides a wide range of services and cash benefits to those covered by the Finnish social security system. Kela offers basic support throughout life's ups and downs. Your right to social security is determined based on residence or employment status in Finland. When you apply for benefits, such as the Kela card or the European Health Insurance card, Kela will assess your eligibility. You will also need to notify Kela about the move to Finland. For more information, you can check out the video, the Finnish Social Security System Explained on YouTube. Let's take a closer look at your right to Kela benefits as an international student. Your eligibility depends on where you're moving from and how long you'll be studying in Finland. If you're moving from a European Union or European Economic Area country, Switzerland, or the UK, your home country will still be responsible for your social security. In this case, you should order a European health insurance card from your home country. If you're moving to Finland from outside the EU to study here for at least 2 years, you may be eligible for certain Kela benefits, such as the Kela card. However, please note that you won't have the right to all Kela benefits, like student financial aid or general housing allowance. It's also important to inform Kela about any changes in your life situation, such as interruption in your studies or starting a job, as these could affect your eligibility for Kela benefits. Now, let's dive into the topic of the healthcare fee for students in higher education. If you're pursuing a bachelor's or master's degree at a Finnish higher education institution and have registered as an attending student for the semester, you are eligible to use the Finnish Student Health Services, known as YTHS in Finnish. As we mentioned earlier, once you have a municipality of residence, you generally have the right to use public services in the city where you live, including also healthcare. The healthcare fees for the student health services are collected by Kela. If you are from outside the EU area and attending a university or a University of Applied Sciences in Finland, you must pay the healthcare fee to Kela. The fee needs to be paid for each term, and Kela does not send a bill for it. You will need to make the payment yourself. Even if you have international health insurance, you still have to pay this fee. If you have social security coverage from another EU or EEA country, Switzerland, or the United Kingdom, you do not have to pay the healthcare fee. In that case, just send Kela a copy of your valid European Health Insurance Card or Global Health Insurance Card. For the full instructions, make sure to visit Kela's website, to which there is a direct link here. And remember, the presentation material, including all the links, is available for download on the International House Helsinki's website. Kela provides several ways to access their services, whether online, by phone, or in person at your local customer service point. You can find more information on their website about how to get in touch with them. For those visiting the Kela service desk at International House Helsinki, make sure to check the up-to-date opening hours and see if you need an appointment. You can find that information on the IHH website. If you have any questions, you can send a direct message on Instagram or call Kela's English phone service. Let's then take a look at what you need to know about taxes and working while studying in Finland. If you plan to work in Finland, whether as an employee or an entrepreneur, you'll need a Finnish tax card. Taxes in Finland are typically progressive, meaning the more you earn, the higher your tax rate. As many students are particularly interested in how much they can earn without paying taxes, it's good to know that there's no fixed income limit for a zero tax rate. Your tax rate depends on multiple factors, such as the type of income you receive, whether it's salary, pension, or benefits. To get an idea of what your tax rate might be, you can use the tax administration's tax percentage calculator. And if you receive financial aid from Kela, keep in mind that your income may affect it. Vero, the Finnish tax administration, offers multiple ways to access their services, whether online, by phone, or in person at a customer service point. You can choose the option that works best for you and find more details on their website. If you're planning to visit the Vero service desk at International House Helsinki, be sure to check the latest opening hours and whether an appointment is needed. You'll find this information on the IHH website. For questions related to international taxation, such as taxation for employees coming to Finland or income from abroad, you can contact their dedicated helpline. More details are also available on Vero's website under Arriving in Finland. Managing your living expenses as a student in Finland is an important part of your journey. You need to ensure that you can support yourself and any family members who may be joining you throughout your studies. This means covering tuition fees, housing, food, and other daily expenses. Planning ahead and researching the expected cost of living can help you feel more prepared. While it is possible to work alongside your studies, finding a part-time job can be challenging, and working too much may slow down your academic progress. Remember that meeting the requirements of your residence permit also includes making steady progress in your studies. For more detailed information on living costs, one useful resource to help you plan your finances could be the Study in Finland website, for example. If you're interested in finding work in Finland, here's what you need to know about employment services and registering as a job seeker. Public employment services offer initial guidance for job seeking at the IHH service point, and you can also visit their desk to register as a job seeker. Once you've registered, you may receive support with your job search and access to various training opportunities, such as public integration training. However, it's important to note that full-time students are generally not eligible for unemployment benefits, and you may receive only limited services from public employment services. For more information, visit the link provided. If you're considering working alongside your studies in Finland, let's now go over what you need to know about your right to work. As an EU citizen, you have the right to start working in Finland as soon as you arrive. This right is unrestricted, meaning you can begin working even while waiting for your EU registration to be processed. The same applies to your family members. Once they arrive in Finland, they can also start working right away, regardless of whether they are EU citizens or not. However, they will still need to apply for a residence card. If you are a citizen of a country outside the EU and hold a residence permit for studies, you're allowed to work without restrictions as long as the work is related to your degree. This includes things like practical training or your thesis as part of your studies. You can also work in paid employment for up to 30 hours per week. However, it's possible to exceed the 30 hours in some weeks as long as your average working hours don't go over 30 hours per week by the end of the year. Next, we'll cover the steps involved in applying for an identity card in Finland. If you've had your home municipality registered by DVV, you can apply for a Finnish identity card. Applying for an identity card isn't always necessary, especially if you already have one issued by another EU country, but it's definitely a convenient way to prove who you are. Plus, If you need electronic identification for using online services, getting a Finnish identity card may be required. To apply, you'll need to visit a police station, so it's important to book an appointment in advance. Also, make sure you have all the required documents with you: a passport photo, a previous passport or identity card, and either cash or a card for payment. Opening a bank account may be an essential step in settling into your new life in Finland. Here's what you need to know to get started. When you open a bank account in Finland, it's important to note that it may take several weeks to receive even basic banking services. During this time, you'll need to be prepared for situations like paying rent or making deposits. These payments can't be made with cash or card, so it's a good idea to keep a valid account in your home country for those initial payments. Different banks have varying requirements for opening an account, as well as different timelines for providing banking services. So it's better to check directly with the bank you choose before making your decision. Make sure they offer services in a language you understand to avoid any complications. And when you open your account, it's a good idea to order any cards or additional banking services you might need at the same time. If you're transferring money from abroad, be aware that the bank may ask you to clarify the origin of your funds. It's also good to note that Finland is nearly a cash-free country, and everyday banking matters are handled online. Online banking credentials are widely used as a strong form of identification for various online services, not just banking. They're commonly used for electronic identification when accessing the online services of public and private service providers. To fully integrate into Finnish society and easily access services, it's highly recommended that you ask your bank to activate the identification feature for you. In many cases, you will first need to apply for a Finnish ID card, which, as we discussed earlier, requires having a permanent residence in Finland. Before we finish, let's go over the resources and support available at International House Helsinki. International House Helsinki, or IHH, is a one-stop service point offering a wide range of information and support services to help you settle in the Helsinki capital region. It's a collaborative effort between the cities of Helsinki, Espoo, and Vantaa, and it brings together several key public authorities. These include the Digital and Population Data Services Agency, Tax Administration, Social Insurance Institution, and the Finnish Immigration Service. At IHH, you can register your right of residence as an EU national, apply for an identity code, and get assistance with issues related to taxation, social security, and employment. Additionally, organisations like the Finnish Centre for Pensions and the Central Organisation of Finnish Trade Unions may be helpful if you're planning to work or start your career in Finland. It's an invaluable resource for anyone new to Finland, offering guidance on the steps you need to take, helping you navigate administrative matters, and providing general support for settling in, all under the same roof. To help you settle in and navigate life in the Helsinki capital region, we've put together some useful resources that you might find interesting. For example, the Newcomer's Guide gives you a good starting point for adjusting to life here, while the Housing in Helsinki Guide is perfect if you're looking to find a place to live in the capital region. Another helpful resource is the International Job Seekers Guide, if you're planning to look for work during your time in Finland. You can also check out Finland Studies' massive open online course, which is a free online course that provides a great introduction to studying at Finnish universities. Make sure to visit the IHH website for more information on these resources, as well as details about services and whether they require a personal appointment. And don't forget the websites for Helsinki, Espoo and Vantaa. They offer useful local information as well. International House Helsinki offers a variety of guidance and support services that you can take advantage of. Whether you need general information about city services or help navigating the procedures of various authority services, you can reach out for guidance that suits your needs. For those who are new to this area, we organize regular online Newcomer Information Sessions. These sessions cover a broad range of topics, from general relocation tips for international newcomers and their families to work-related advice for those planning to enter the local job market. If your situation is a bit more complex or specific, you can book a 30-minute appointment for your relocation guidance. This allows you to discuss your concerns in more detail with someone who can provide personalized support. As you near graduation in the future, we also offer employment coaching to help international newcomers and students navigate the local job market. Before booking a coaching appointment, you'll need to attend one of our Newcomer Information Sessions about working life. Additionally, if you have questions about employee rights or work-life rules in Finland, the Central Organisation of Finnish Trade Unions, SAK, offers an employee rights advisory service, which can be an excellent resource for understanding your rights as an employee in Finland. If you're coming to Finland with your family, International House Helsinki offers a variety of services to help with your settling in process. These services are tailored to support not only you, but also your spouse and children as they adjust to life in the Helsinki capital region. At IHH, you can get guidance on daycare and education options for your children. There's also the Spouse Programme, a peer network for international partners to connect with other newcomers and get support entering the local job market. If you're looking for work or thinking of developing your career, IHH provides valuable employment services, including help with registering as a job seeker and coaching to boost your chances of success. To visit International House Helsinki and get the latest information, check our up-to-date opening hours, the address of our service centre and instructions for booking appointments for each of our services at ihhelsinki.fi. Additionally, you can download helpful checklists from our website to guide you through the various steps of settling in Helsinki. If you have questions about our services, our IHH chatbot, Into, is available 24/7 to assist you. Thank you for watching this instructional video, and we warmly welcome you to the Helsinki capital region. We wish you the best of luck with your studies and your journey ahead. We hope you enjoy your time here and make the most of all the opportunities this wonderful region has to offer. We also hope you find all the support you need to settle in and make the Helsinki capital region your new home.